everyone, Bethany Wilson here from Dogger Size presents the new Rough Start Rehab. It's dog training and rescue. I'm hanging out here with my board and train Louie, practicing on really long calm down stays while I'm working. So had a little rant with love for you guys today, and it's how I feel about dog parks and doggy daycares. Now, let me just have like a disclaimer. I have used them. I do use them occasionally for different reasons, and I'll go into that later. But this is not like a you're horrible if you go kind of thing, so don't misunderstand me. But I do want to point some really important things out that's just really misunderstood. I'm going to start with dog parks. So, I moved to the big city of New York City when I was 19 for a while, and then I later moved to LA. Now, I came from a farm, so I didn't even know what a dog park was. And when I figured out what it was, I was like, wow, this is great. So even though I saw problems from the very beginning, I kept going. I'm like, this was just a bad day. Well, this was just 10 bad days. Well, I just need to do better at this. So I have a lot of experience, probably my first 3 years in cities with dog parks before I finally just realized I'm just going to use them for training purposes. So, so let me just go into some of the reasons why. The major thing is that no matter when you go to a dog park, what I've noticed is that there's almost always a squabble, like at least every other time. And what happens is, one, nobody knows what to do. So they just kind of stand around until one person has to intervene. They end up getting bit because they grab the other person's dog, or they get yelled at because they grab the other person's dog, and you have to deal with that situation. Or you get a shocking amount of mentality where they say, oh, they're just dogs. Just let them work it out. They're fine. And what I mean by that is there might be like a little, a little squabble, and then they might stop on their own, or just a growl, or posturing or something like that. And people will be like, oh, they'll be fine. Let them work it out. They're dogs. I'm like, what? They don't even know each other. They're trying, you want them to size each other up and make a decision how they feel on their own. I mean, that's crazy to me, So things like that, those are the most obvious big trigger signs that I find. And then what I've noticed is that mostly dog parks have two types of dogs. One of those dogs is a little submissive, maybe a little anxious, maybe a little unsure, a little insecure, but might be perfectly well-rounded, fine dog. But they might get overwhelmed sometimes. Might just be one dog per visit that really crowds them and really makes them feel uncomfortable, or plays too hard and hurts them, and they're unsure, and then they just stay away from that dog, so they're never able to resolve it, and they stress load, and nobody is advocating for them. And then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, they just snap. It might be on a walk. It might be with their own dogs in the home. It might not even be at the dog park. Or it might be at the dog park. You never know. And people are like, oh my God, it happened out of nowhere. No, it didn't. It didn't happen out of nowhere. I can promise you that. So you have that. Then you have this other type where, and I've actually had one of these dogs, so I know how tough it can be, is where it might be a perfectly fine dog. My particular dog that did this, he's passed away now, but he was great with puppies and loved to play and really, really obedient. But he had that mob mentality is what I'm gonna call it, except times 100 or 1,000, because dogs don't rationalize. Where if a kind of shy, nervous dog starts running and is playful, but then it turns to fear, and all these dogs join in running after this dog. And then if they eventually get cornered before someone can get to them, it can be bad. It can be, even if it's not a full-on bite, it's so detrimental to that poor other dog and the dogs chasing, because they're being allowed to do it. And what happens is all these dogs join in the run. They join in, and it's just a pack. It's a dog pack. It's what they do. That prey drive, or just really intense play drive kicks in, and dogs can die of it. I haven't seen it happen, but I've had clients who have had dogs die at dog parks, or a friend whose dog was killed at a dog park. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but you do have to acknowledge that it happens. And even if it's not that severe, just the chase down alone is just so, it's so detrimental for, ooh, sorry. See if I can change that. I just lit up like a light bulb. It's just so detrimental for the dog's state of mind. For both of them, the chaser and the poor one being chased, no one advocating for them. It's just bad all the way around. So just to bring up one more really important thing is I've noticed from a training perspective, is what happens to dogs that go to dog parks and doggy daycares is that's their association with animals, with other dogs most of the time. So what happens is they play or run till they're exhausted. I mean, zonked out exhausted. And then the owner sees that the dog is just kind of meandering around, sniffing or laying down because they're so tired. And then they're like, okay, let's go. Because you know, everybody's, barely has any time as it is. So the dog is tired, we go home. And I understand that. But what you have to realize is that the only association that dog is getting with other dogs is crazy high drive play. And then what happens in doggy daycares is dogs will play and get exhausted and not really feel like playing anymore, but still be bothered by new dogs coming in. And then they get tired and cranky just like kids, and they get snappy about it. I've had a lot of clients with really sweet dogs get kicked out of doggy daycares for those reasons. So that's why I specifically wanted to mention those, because it's pretty common for that to happen. Or it just puts a lot of stress on your dog because they're tired and they don't want to be surrounded by dogs anymore, because they've just played and played and played. And the reason that translates into the home life is, let's say your dog goes to doggy daycare 5 days a week, and then you go hiking or just go for long walks on the weekend. Well, 75 to 95% of that dog's interaction with other dogs is crazy fun play. So how can you expect that dog to be a perfect, calm, cool, chill walker to be able to go anywhere with? Definitely can't have an off-leash dog, that's for sure. So that's not good for the dog mentally. They only see dogs as just, ooh, yay, fun, 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 and they can't control themselves. And then you correct them or you get onto them, and that's not really fair to them because that's what you've taught them. I hope that makes sense, and just in terms of training and trying to be well-rounded in general. You can't expect them to be calm because you haven't, given them that association. I do actually currently have a dog that does good in a cage-free environment. You might have a dog that does good at doggy daycare, but only if they kennel dogs part of the day. Or it could be like the current dog I have who doesn't do well with someone else kenneling him. He's fine if family kennels him, but something about other people kenneling him he's not thrilled about, so he stresses out. But he's great in a cage-free environment. So it really just depends on the facility. In this particular cage-free facility, they do not encourage crazy fun play. There's no toys or anything around, and it's a lot of space. And they actually, instead of just being stationary and talking to each other from across fences, it's their job to stay moving constantly, which helps the dogs stay moving, and it just helps the energy of the place. So you really have to find that right place. I will say, I'm currently based in Los Angeles, and I will say, unfortunately, I've tried a lot of dog daycares, because it's always important. It's important to me to have a backup if I have, someone who can't watch them or I can't travel with them. So please just know your dogs, guys. Know your dogs. My first introduction to doggy daycares, one particularly, was back when I used to do dog walking and pet sitting. I would pick up a dog from doggy daycare for a few days a week. And the first month, 2 days that I was there, and I was only there a few days a week picking the dog up, there were fights that had broken out and dogs had to go to the hospital. I mean, I know that's not every doggy daycare, but that's crazy to me. And then another one I tried that was supposed to be really small groups, it was small groups, all right, but they didn't have enough money to have enough people there to be in all the small groups, so the dogs would be left alone, and when you would look at them on the camera, they'd just be waiting for the person to come back, which causes anxiety and stress, and it was just hard. So the right ones are out there. They absolutely are, but do your research and know your dog. Know what works and what doesn't work. And make sure whatever facility you use has cameras. The exception, of course, is if you do like someone who works out of their own home, which is actually a really great option if you trust that person, because the dog can be much more comfortable with that. And yeah, for most of us, for most of you out there, don't go to dog parks. There's no reason. A dog does not have to have that interaction to be a well-balanced social dog. Absolutely does not. Social does not mean running amok and playing like crazy with no rules, no boundaries, no nothing. That is not what a social dog is. And I can guarantee you that your relationship with your dog and what you do with your dog matters way more than what that dog does around his own species on a regular basis, if it's not a healthy relationship with other dogs. So if you're one of those people out there watching this and you're like, I don't understand, I've always had a great time at dog parks and never had any issues, well, then you should keep going. Same when, doggy daycares, you should absolutely keep going. These are warnings, and these are for people who has a dog that's not fitting in those situations and doesn't understand why. Those are the reasons why. And if you've never had any issues, you're lucky. If you've never seen any issues, I'd say you've had a good run of luck, or maybe you're just in a really great area. I think that depends a lot upon it too. All right, guys, so if you like what you've heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a rant. And, check out our Facebook. We do Q&As where you can ask questions and we answer them. It's something new we're doing, and we're going to continue to do, because I don't have time to answer everyone, and I feel so bad, and I just want to help everyone as much as I can, and people can take whatever part they want and leave the rest behind, whatever they like. So I really love doing this. So you can definitely go to my Facebook page and ask me questions, and the link will be down below in the information box.